Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are having an amazing day. Today, we're going to be playing some Minecraft. Now, last we left off, we made this part of the B area. We have a whole lot of B areas at this moment, and it's currently being visited by two Endermen. You know what? That's fine. As long as we don't accidentally look at them, it'll be fine. But today, we're going to make a kind of a back room esque sort of thing where it's kind of out of the way. And in this little cave section, we're going to have a little side area where there's going to be the backup bees. Essentially, just in case, if these bees, once I've actually opened this back up, if these bees decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to go in here and go into the water, we'll have backup bees so we can breed them back up and not just lose all of our bees and have to regrow trees in order to get bees again. So that is the plan for today, as well as I want to try my hand at making a moss farm just from memory. And if it doesn't end up working, then I'll have to, well, look up a tutorial and figure out how to do it. But hopefully we can at least get everything dug out at the very least. And we could probably get the majority of it decorated. Because with the moss farm, I have the idea of essentially having it behind glass and have a door to the side where we can easily access it if we really wanted to, but it's not going to be full access all the time. And you know what? Before I do this, I probably shouldn't use my silk touch since it's low, and I want to enchant. Oh, I already have a shovel. I need to enchant a shovel because my shovel is looking worse for wear. I can technically enchant two things at the moment. So you know what? I can see if I can enchant both of those. Why not? Efficiency, that's all we have. Ah, that's fine. And efficiency, which is also fine. Not the best enchants, but definitely not the worst. Our axe is looking fine, so I'll just keep it in there. And we should probably combine those now instead of later. Because I have a feeling I'll forget how low my shovel is, and then I'll end up breaking and we'll lose the unbreaking 3 that we have on there. Which wouldn't be the end of the world, but definitely wouldn't be ideal. There we go. And now we should be good. There are so many random grass blocks because of the Enderman. Alright. I'm just gonna have to hope that there's no water behind this wall of any degree. What I could do, and I think what I might do, if I can find... There's some dirt. I could block myself in there for a little bit until we have a good chunk of it dug out. Just so we don't have bees coming into here just to end up getting hurt by something that I wasn't expecting to be back here. Because that would suck. Or they could have gotten crushed by the gravel that was there. Huh. Okay. So, this is the entrance. I think I want it to kind of have a slight curve, but not too much. And for right now, it's safe here, so I'll keep torches in my offhand. Because why not? Alright. Let's do that. I can't go too far that way, can I? I should be fine, because I think that wall ends right about here. So that's a good, what? Maybe 6 to 8 more blocks I can go that way? So we should be fine. There we go. You know what? We're getting a fair bit of gravel for doing this as well. I'll take it. And this is why I didn't want the bees to be in this section. Ah! Alright. That works. It's legitimately open to where the science center is. If I wanted the main room that's not behind glass to end right there, I can. However, you know what? No. Let's do that. And I'll put the dirt there to divide it off. How far can I go without running into something? Please say it's a decent way. That means I would have to bring this back by 1, just because we don't want that peeking through. So just going off of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not great. I could definitely move at least part of this back by 1, so we at least have a 7 by however many we go that way. But it's still not great. Because it's gotta be a confined space. A very confined space. Well, I think just because of that, I might want to definitely have more than just the quick glance I had earlier if I want to do an actual moth farm. Because we're going to have to figure out what we can do in the space we have. Worst comes to worst, we can always shift this over, but I want to do my best not to. But sure, it'll just mean that it's going to be harder on me. But I want to see if I can do it. If I can't, oh well. At least I'll have tried. There we go. There's so much gravel. You know what? And coal. I'll take it. You know what? I actually do want a torch over there. It's just a little dark. Just a little bit. You know what? It's nighttime. I'm going to quickly go in here. I saw right over here. So that means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'd say about 9 blocks before we can go back any further. So right now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then this one we can go back further if we need to. Which might look a bit odd. But I think it'll be fine since this part isn't going to be in the forefront. This part is just functionality. There we go. That, even if we open it up with the ceiling, I don't think that's going to be enough room. And I don't want the back of that build to be poking into it. I guess another thing we could do instead... What is sliding down the honey? Alright. Something was sliding down the honey. What we could do instead of having it right here, we can have it all the way over there instead where we have more room. And over here we can just have... Ooh! You know what? Alright. We can have the 2-block tall flowers and stuff like that growing here. And we can have dispensers just so we can get more of those flowers. And we can also have... I mean, technically, we already kind of have a spot for the glow lichen, if I remember correctly, all the way at our Skelly farm. Where our Skelly farm is, the building on top, behind that is a fishing area. I think I did do something along the lines of that, but it's not fully automated. But we can have a better one over here. I think that'll work better. That also means that we can go ahead and tear out the room accordingly. Because if that part's not going to be behind glass, taking out the curve just like anywhere else in here. All right. That works. I'm going to take a... All right. Oh, kitty. Kitty. Really? Hey, kitty. Thank you. Just want to see how far I would need to go. And then the cat invaded our tiny little spot. Which is fine. The cat could be in here, but I don't want the cat running in between the block and my pickaxe. That would not be great for anyone. Same reason I don't want the bees in here. At least not yet. I might make that entrance a tad bit bigger because of how big this area is. Having a really tiny entrance would seem odd. At least I think it would seem odd. So right over here. We can carve this out. And I think right here is where we'll have the staff-only door. So through there is where we'll have the safety bees. The backup bees. The bees that will ensure that we will not end up losing all of our bees. And then we can even have some bees in this area as well, especially since we're going to have flowers anyway. That means that there's going to be bees coming in here either way. Ooh, you know what? It could be another little hive cave similar to the other one, except this one has more functionality in comparison. Because the other one is definitely more so decorative. Oh, but I don't have any more of the natural beehives. Ah, that's fine. What I might do is just keep in mind that I need to try and get more natural beehives again. Just to remedy that. And you know what? When I have this place dug out to a point where I feel comfortable opening that up, I might do just that and harvest all the trees that we have down there and replant them and hope that we get, I'd say, at least 3 natural beehives. Sure, we don't need 3 natural beehives for it. But it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt in the slightest. How am I gonna do this? Alright. As much as I want to lift the roof, I need to focus on getting the actual shape of the room down before we raise the roof. So let's see here. So that's gonna be... Let's have a 2-block safety gap of sorts before we decide this is where we're gonna potentially put a farm. So starting from this wall is where we'll count the length. So let's do... How far do I think we'll need? You know what? I could be safe and overshoot it, because if we overshoot it, it just means we have a bigger room than what we needed. If we undershoot it, we're gonna have to mess with the room shape again. So let's do 15. You know what? Why not? All right. And what's over here? Got it. I need to grab my sponge and empty my inventory. Jeez. All right. Did I bring sponge down here? I don't remember where I stored my sponge. I know I took it. Did I take it out of the furnace? I'm fairly certain I took it out of the furnace. I'm no longer positive, but I'm fairly certain I did. Let's just quickly drop all of this off. And pop. It's not there. Did I not put it? Did I put my valuables? I put it in with my valuables. Okay. That makes sense. There we go. Come on. In we go. All right. And pop. And pop. Okay, I don't need to go that far, but why not? I'll be curious. Oh, it's the end of the cave. All right. Then yeah, I could do that. All right. Oh, that's sponge. And there's water above there. Is that what I just saw? No? Alright. And you know what? I might as well grab this coal. Sure, we have a fair chunk of coal just because we've been using charcoal, but at this point, I'd rather have more than I need. Because there have been too many times where I completely run out of coal. And I'd rather not do that. I think what I might have saw was the particle effect of breaking the wet sponge. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 15 is definitely overshooting it, but it's fine. If we overshoot it, it's better than under. So technically, from here it's 17, but just going from here it's 15. And I'll even put a thing of dirt to show that's where the line starts on that end. Do I want to have it more inset? We could do a 15 by 10. I'm certain that's going to be more than what we need. So if we can I go by 3? I can. Okay. Let's do 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. I'll put a thing of dirt and a torch. And I'll put a thing of dirt over here as well. Just to show that this is the corner. At least on this side. And we need 15 again. Alright. So that's going to be 6, or at least it should be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Off by 1, but relatively close. I'll take it, I'll take it. There we go. And now we need this end. So this is 10, 15. I was wrong. I did the math right on my second attempt. Alright. You know what? That works. Why did I do that? I'm already going to take this down. It's not going to affect anything. Oh well. I'm fairly certain that zombie's probably upstairs. If I had to guess. Maybe. I mean, worst comes to worst, there's a cave somewhere nearby, but... Nah, that's fine. Random cave didn't hurt. Unless you weren't expecting said cave. Or you were ill-prepared for said cave. Then they very much hurt. There we go. I think I'll do the same dirt corner on this side as well. So let's do... Bop, bop, bop. Dirt corner. So that way we can open this up without having to figure out where the corner of that one is. And you know what? We have a farm upstairs. Just a normal farm. I feel like we could probably put a bigger normal farm down here. Because the ones upstairs, they're functional. They work. Technically, we don't need to have another. But it also wouldn't hurt. So we can have moss farm, we can have flowers. And then over on this side, not through there, but over here, we can have actual farming plots with potatoes and wheat and stuff like that. And whatever we need the most, we can just plant what we need. And at the moment, it'll probably end up being wheat. I think we have a lot of wheat. Last I checked. But I don't think we need anything specifically crop-wise for any particular reason. Then again, we could split it into thirds and have carrots, potatoes, and wheat. Because the main reason I would prioritize wheat is so we can keep up with our cows and sheep. But we can also get potatoes and carrots for villager trading. Because I do need to do that at some point. Get more emeralds, breed up our villagers more, get better villagers so we can get better trades. Stuff like that. We're going to be raising the roof by a fair bit. I'll see what I can do. I have this mental image of basically having these be kind of like not stalagmites or stalactites, because it goes from it's attached to both ends, and those ones are either hanging or pointing towards either. So, but have basically I'm gonna just call them cave pillars for now. Cave pillars kind of boxing in the windows into the moss farm. I think that would look cool. You know what? Depending on... Like, this is a further project, technically. But depending on how big this little underground area gets, If it gets far enough away from our nether portal upstairs, which it definitely will once we go probably 2, maybe 3 layers down, we'll be able to put another nether portal just so we can get to that one. That would definitely be interesting. Very, very interesting. Ooh. So we have a whole bunch of bee things, right? And this is definitely the organics level of the place. Because the first level, yes, it has organics, but I'm going to keep the farms up there. Maybe. I'm actually not certain. I really do like the farms up there, though. But the second level is definitely the main organics level. The third level, I honestly don't know what's going to be on it. Because I think the fourth level is when we're going to start getting into Deep Slate. I guess the third level could be more so like a community area, basically where the housing and maybe shops are. So the third level is probably where it'd be beneficial for another portal to be, if we're just going based off of the logistics of what an underground town like this would need. An underground town. Ah, yes, this is totally a very small town and not an entire city. And because of how big this project is, I'm glad we have another portal at the mushroom area. Because I think I might use that as a way to take breaks from all the digging that we're going to need to do. Because I don't want to just create one town to be done. I've done that a few times, mainly in my hardcore worlds, where it's like, I create a place and now I'm dead, so I can no longer open the world. Or in the other case, started making a town and had technical difficulties and lost the world. But I want to see how long I can have this one last and see if I can actually make at least 2 intricate places. Not counting the more abandoned side of it. Oh, right. I remember a while ago, I don't remember what session this was, but it was when I was getting ice for one reason or another. And I was talking about having a dock set up there. The dock system probably wouldn't be used all that much in the days where this city is thriving. But back when they had both underground and above ground towns and everything, they probably would have used boats and everything to still get around, despite it being relatively cold. So making it an old abandoned dock somewhere in the general direction of where we left to go to the Sea Temple the second time. the correct way. I think that would be, honestly, pretty cool. Well, I'm gonna have to fix that. I also need to fix my inventory situation. Hold on. Alright, hold on. Let's go ahead, put the sponge in the furnace. This one singular sponge I didn't use, I'll just put away for now. And I think because we're digging out a relatively big area and we're not done yet, I might just put at least one double chest in there just so we can dump our inventory and not have to go back and forth from our storage to... I'll just call it the farming cave for now. To the farming cave. I think that'd be better, and then I can just take that chest and transfer it when I need to. And... okay. You know what? I'm just gonna take a whole bunch of this and smelt it. Sure, I have a lot more space where I can put the raw copper, but we have so much raw copper. I'm just gonna smelt it at this point. Why do I have random bone meal on me? Right. It's the one thing that I didn't put away when I was at the Skelly farm. Because I AFK'd at the Skelly farm for a little bit to get up to level 33. I could put away my Silk Touch for now, instead of having it in my inventory. You know what? I'll use that just so it's gone. Why am I keeping a random stone pickaxe that has probably one use? Alright. I mean, it's fine. It's just confusing. To me, the person that did it. It's always fun when you end up somehow confusing yourself. You know what? I'll put the sponge in here, since it's closer. Because I might need it again. Because I don't know what's in that general area. I really hope my furnaces are actually filled up. Because if they aren't, then I put away that coal for nothing. That's good. That's good. That's not so great. There's nothing in there. Alright. Okay. There we go. Okay, seriously? Well, I guess we can put the sponge away now. What is with my fueling? Well, there's some there. Alright. I need to fix that. I really need to fix that. Alright. You know what? The level that occurs on, where we have a super smelter, is probably going to end up being... You know what? I can see that being both on the 3rd level and the 4th level. If the 4th level is legitimately in Deep Slate. Right, I'm looking for chests. I just need... You know what? I'll be safe and grab 4. Because those have building supplies in them. We just need a place to store the stuff that we're getting. So let's put that right there. Three blocks. I saved a stone pickaxe that had 3 blocks worth of durability. Fantastic. No notes. Honestly, this could be like a little farming club of sorts. So you have the farming section, of course, and everything like that. When did you get in here? Did you just spawn in here? Alright. You do you, I guess. Welcome to the unfinished cave. But we can have, of course, moss farm and everything like that. But then maybe we can have a little, like, hangout area right over in this direction. Of course, they can hang out wherever. But over there, that'd be a special spot. That is not the right placement. Ah, yes. I want my middle finger on E instead of W. That's how that works. Let's do this. Because of course we can always make the shapes of both the walls and the ceilings a bit more in depth with slabs and stairs. But just as a basic thing, I don't think that's too bad. Just focusing on this area. You know what? I might do this instead. You know what? I have this curve a little this way, and then back over here. Just so it kind of looks like the cave made a little section separate from it. And they just decided to be like, okay, you know what? We'll roll with this. And we'll end up making an entrance over here. And it wouldn't have been a too tall entrance. It would have been a normal cave entrance. However, they would have closed it up. They would have closed it up. Ooh. You know what? Just in case, I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Never mind, because I don't know where the paper is. It is somewhere in here. And I don't want to use my sketchpad. So you know what? I just need to keep a mental note of, hey, if we don't end up decorating this whole thing, And I haven't done this yet. Rewatch this bit just so I can keep that in mind. Because we can do something more so like this, where it looks like it is a normal cave entrance, but we could block it off, have it walled off, have the supports of a man-made structure, so that way it shows that they're, yes, using the cave's natural design, but making it into their own. Because I feel like with a lot of these, they kind of did that, but not as much. Actually, I could double check. Because over here, that's just a normal cave. Over here, we're definitely using the cave, and we're definitely going to want to have. I'm going to need to make some sort of supports, because once we have this all dug out, that is not going to be supported. The center is going to be so prone to collapsing, to say the least. This has a cave entrance. I don't think it has any wooden supports, though. They just kind of carved away at it. But this one's going to have some wooden supports as well. So I think I want to incorporate that into some of the other builds, too. And then this one's kind of the outlier because it needs to be more fortified and everything. Because if that steel breaks, they're going to end up accidentally freezing the majority of the place, if not all of it. Because it's a little cold. Just a little bit. Back here is where the safety bees are, so we can put more bees in here, but they might not survive as well. I'm saying this mainly because I had the idea of putting a water fixture. But bees and water really don't mix. We'll see. I don't want to end up having a bunch of dead bees on my hands, but I think it would look good. I'm going to need to be careful with how I want to do this. Then again, it seems like, knock on wood, the bees are being a little smarter than past experiences I've had with bees. Because technically, those bees out there do have access to water in some capacity. Because I have, of course, the waterway where the villagers are taken to. That's not covered up. And then I have a water fixture in my storage room. That's not covered up. But the bees haven't died yet. So maybe they're being smarter? Or maybe I'm just getting lucky and the bees just aren't pathfinding to there. Because there isn't a whole lot of flowers over in that direction. But it's still a good thing. But the water next to the villagers, however, there is actually a fair chunk of flowers next to it because they're right next to the tree farm. I think when I'm done using that for specifically functionality reasons, I might take that tree farm and end up putting a whole bunch of custom trees there and just make that a park. Because for a better tree farm, we're going to want it to be a lot bigger. Which means we would have to be able to have a lot more ceiling room. You know what? Maybe Maybe floor 3 can be the tree area. Just have a whole bunch of trees and have them kind of almost taking over the area. Because the whole thing with the crystals, at least this is the interpretation of them right now, is that they kind of make a lot of things grow, which is why there's a whole bunch of moss and everything around where the amethyst is. And the thing with this area is that this is the science center, and they notice that, hey, I never put crystals in here. I had the idea of putting crystals in here, but I never did. Oh. You know what? Good. Good. Because the science center is mainly to help with determining whether the outside is still safe enough for random travelers and stuff like that, or if they have to close the surface entirely. Because the majority of their place is underground, but they still have a giant building up top as basically a hub of sorts. That is so many bees. I will never get over that. And it's still not all of them. But with this hub of sorts, it's a lot of people don't go up there unless they're traveling. Otherwise, they're all downstairs. Unlike the older places where you'll find a lot more scattered ruins of small houses where it was either a house or a store or something like that. Because back then, it wasn't as cold. So on the third floor, that could be where the experimentation of the crystals could be. Because in the older sections, whoa, okay. Are we good? Okay. In the older sections that were made by a past civilization, there's a whole bunch of crystals and a whole bunch of plant life and everything like that. But I have a feeling that because a lot of their work would have been most likely destroyed by either weather or, well, caves aren't necessarily known for being the driest thing. So either the snow or the moisture of caves would probably destroy older text. So maybe not all of their research was saved because they obviously used the crystals in some capacity. So that means because it wasn't saved and they wanted to figure out what's going on with the crystals, they would have a bigger research center on the third floor experimenting with them, which is why it's going to be overgrown with trees. Because the whole thing with the crystals is that they either increase the growth rate or just make it so that way, even if it's uninhabitable, plant life will grow in some way, shape, or form. You know what? I like that idea. I like that idea a lot, actually. Because I've been thinking for a while now of, I don't entirely know what I'm going to do for the third level. since it's not in the deep slate area. Because I had an idea for this level, and I had an idea for the level that is in deep slate. But the third level isn't going to be in deep slate quite yet. So, you know what? That works. I might... Hopefully more ideas pop in my head for the third level, because we're not done with the second level by any means. Don't get me wrong. But starting a little bit on the third level for some of the things that we might... For some of the things that we may need, like an actual tree farm, doesn't sound like an awful idea. Especially since the tree farm we have currently can only reliably grow birch, oak, technically dark oak, and pale oak. But if we want some of the bigger trees, I don't think it's tall enough for that. So honestly, I think that's not a bad idea. Okay, I really like how that looks, but we're going to be raising the roof. It's probably not going to look great once we raise the roof. Because we need to raise it to that level. Okay, maybe not need, but I want to raise it to that level. I might also drop this down by at least 1. So I have a feeling we're going to want that in the end. So 3. We need this to be 3 blocks taller. And then anything on the sides... You know what? I'll carve it out on the sides as well. And then we'll fix it later. Because either way, while the majority of them is stone, there's still a fair chunk that's granite and potentially diorite. That it's fine. So we'll just focus on getting the majority of this dug out. And then for any of the cave structure around the ceiling, and probably the bottom too. I haven't done a lot of cave structure in the bottom. Most of it's just floor, wall, instead of having it curve upward into the wall. I definitely might want to fix that. I don't think it's apparent in too many of the areas, except for, of course, the main area that isn't fully done. But I might want to keep that into account, and we can work on it in this one. And then once this one's finished, we can use it as a reference for the rest of the cave over there. You know what? The third floor is also going to have more bees. Is it going to be ones that I'll be able to harvest from? Very few. But you know what? That's not what I wanted to do. But you know what? It's not for functionality. It's just so that there's bees. And if there's going to be a whole bunch of trees and overgrowth because of the crystals, I feel like it would make sense to have more bees. And I feel like the main reason that there would be crystals in the upper areas where they're not doing the experimentations is they discovered, hey, this helps with growing. And that's all they discovered, and people went along with it, especially the people who were working with the crops or who just like flowers and stuff like that. And was like, oh, you know what? Are we able to get this? Or maybe they got it on their own. I don't know. There's just an underground area where you can get amethyst without anyone knowing. Just be like, shh, I need some amethyst. Can you get it to me? I need to have the best flowers on the block. Just dealing for amethyst. Honestly, I could see that happening. This is a very big city-like area, so having that happen wouldn't be too outlandish. Okay. I'm just going to do that so it's not just a very tall, very tall 1x1 hole. Because that just feels weird. You know what? By the time we get to deep slate level, I think I might try and get a beacon. Maybe even before then. Because I have the materials to make a fair chunk of potions, and if I don't have the materials for the potions I need, I can always try and get them depending on what. Oh, gas tears. Aren't gas tears used for regeneration? I think they are. Well, that's gonna be a pain to get. But besides that, I think we have a fair chunk of what we need. Because if we get a beacon, that would make this a whole lot faster. Because sure, this isn't the slowest thing ever. We have a really good pick. But it's definitely not the fastest. Plus, if we're not currently mining at the time, and as long as we don't need to move it for anything else, because we were mining in a separate section, we could just have it have jump boost or speed, or I think even regeneration. That wouldn't be too bad. I think the main thing with that would be, depending on how, I don't know how big of an area beacons actually affect. I don't think I've ever looked that up. But depending on how big of an area, it wouldn't hurt to probably try and get multiple. Because at that point, I would just need to get enough. How? Alright. Rude. Got it. That wasn't necessary, but alright. Okay, that's... There we go. This is fine. So that's a few more. I would like to have... Thank you. There we go. Just a few more, maybe. Okay. That's fine. You know what? Oh, that's why. I was just about to ask why I haven't just been putting it down where the ceiling meets. But if I did that, it would cause more issues for me in the end because I still do need to texture the ceiling and everything. And if there's water up there, it would be best if I just had a block barrier so I'm not putting water everywhere again when I'm texturing the ceiling. Because I usually tend to do that last. And it'd be kind of hard to do that last if it was going to destroy stuff. You know what? That one's not terrible. So, bop, bop. And bop, bop. There we go. I'm going to assume the torch was broken before those could actually get broken by said torch. Is that all the gravel? No. Is there water where this gravel is? That I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. And bop, bop. Bop. That works. Sure, the ceiling is going to have a few odd holes. But you know what? It's better than having water actively falling on our heads. So I'll take it. Okay. I thought we were done with the water. But we are not. There's even more water. Alright. Let's do... there. Let's do all of those. Nothing. And that torch was taken up by the water. There's at least 2 more gravel that I saw. Maybe. Where? I don't remember. I can at least dig 2 up without running into anything. Okay, there's that one. And that's not going to be affected, so I think that was the last one. I guess we'll see. Any others that are going to open up to water? I mean, that's got to be covered up with blocks technically, so it'll be fine. In the end. Okay, I don't want a torch underneath that. Because right there, I believe, is the back wall of the water area in the science center. So technically, it is poking into the science center area. But because we're going to be curving the ceiling to kind of blend in with the wall, I think it'll be fine. Especially since it won't be visible in the end. Hopefully. If it does somehow end up being visible, then that'll be an issue, but I don't think it will be. As long as it's on the very edge and not right, I'd say more so in this general area, it'll be fine. And you know what? That's a lot less of that wall poking through than I thought there would be when I was first digging this out, because I thought they were going to be a little too close with how big this area is. Because when I was first thinking about, hey, I thought I was done with all of this. Apparently I was not. But when I was first thinking about this specific bee area with the moss farm and everything, I wasn't initially planning for it to be this big. I'm gonna be real. I was thinking, oh, it'll just be a small one like the other cave over there. And then I searched up a tutorial, took a quick look at it because it was far enough away from stream that I wouldn't have remembered too many specifics. So I didn't want to spend too much time being like, I'm gonna watch the entire thing twice. And maybe a third time just to remember it. Especially since apparently this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the measurements were 7 by 11 or something along those lines. So I very much overshot the size of this, but again, I wanted to overshoot it. Because if we overshoot it, not only does it mean we don't have to worry about whether or not the farm is going to fit, but then we're also going to be able to do a little bit more decorating besides just the farm. So, we'll see. Honestly, I think my main concern with this specific farm is the fact... Oh, you know what? Do I remember how to do that? Is it F3G? Yeah! Uh-oh. That's what I forgot to do. I forgot to see where the borders were. Because that's going to cause issues. But besides that, my main concern is getting the timings right and not accidentally making a cobblestone generator instead of a stone generator. Because that would be unfortunate. I don't want to go too much into that area, so I'm going to have to go this way. So, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11. You know what? Let's not do 11. Let's do 10. Just like it was over here. Which does mean we can actually push this back, since we're going to have to do it on their border line over here. Because this is fine. This is right on the border. It's just this part. Because there could be some weirdness if we have it in separate chunks. Which wouldn't be great. I like to avoid those kinds of errors. I'm honestly surprised I remembered the keybind to bring up the chunk borders. Because it was either G or B. I think B is hitboxes, though. Right? Actually, I gotta test that out. F3B. It is! Okay, cool. I remembered something! Because for the longest time, those were not keybinds I knew off the top of my head. But now they are. Despite me not using them all too often. So I'll take it. I'm fairly certain, if I remember correctly. Again, I'm gonna end up looking at a tutorial, technically again, for many reasons, because I've made one in the past before I even started streaming or anything like that. But it's been a little bit. And if I recall, lava, it's water and then lava running onto the water that makes it into stone, right? Because I know to make a cobblestone generator, you have water, bop bop hole, lava, and then you get cobblestone. So I think that's what it would be. But if it's not, then I'll definitely end up figuring it out one way or another, whether it's through trial and error or otherwise. All right. Let's do bop. That actually means I can curve that a bit sooner. So I can have a bigger area over there. I actually really like that. Gives us a lot more room to work with. All right. And I want to make this in such a way that doesn't look like it's just square farm plots all the way around and everything. While having it also still be a relatively efficient manual farm. If I really wanted to, on floor 3, the tree level, I guess I could call it the crystal level as well. Whatever we're gonna call that level, since this is technically the organics level, we could have an actual semi-manual farm. I don't know if I want to do a fully automated farm, because that would require villagers. And I don't necessarily want to do that. I already have villagers, and I'm going to trade with them and all that jazz. Don't necessarily think I want to go through and have a whole bunch of villagers trapped in a plot of land just farming. I guess I could kind of do that because I do want a better villager breeder, because mine's very makeshift. And what I could do is move my villager breeder to the 3rd level instead of having it on the 2nd level where it's not necessarily in the best place. Kind of in the way. Or at least will be when I actually start carving out more of the main area. But it could be a kind of a 2-in-1 situation where it's like, okay, once we have the amount of villagers we want and we don't want any more villagers, we can just start sending a hopper minecart around to pick up the potatoes that they throw and everything. So they're less likely to end up making more villagers, even though it would be all dependent on whether there's beds or not. Or open beds, that is. But I think in the long run that would work. And if we did end up getting way too many villagers, then, well, I guess that's on me. And I would deal with that when the time came. But as of right now, I don't think that's a terrible idea. And the semi-manual farm would just be the one where you have your normal plots of farmland, and then you can flick a switch or press a button and have water harvest it for you, and then you just have to manually plant it. Which honestly I'm fine with. I don't mind farming. It's not too bad. Do I do it all the time? No. And then I regret it later because I find out, oh, hey, I need this. I should probably remember to farm. Do I do it often? No. Do I actually need any crops as of right now? It wouldn't hurt, but I don't think I'm too low on wheat. And I'm not actively trading with villagers. So it's not too much of an issue. You know what? Just because of that, I might spend a little time after stream just gardening and seeing how much wheat I have. Because I don't know how much I have. Fairly certain I have maybe at least a half a stack of hay bales, last I checked. But that can easily go away. I also need to breed my cows. I remember I bred my cows a while ago. I was like, you know what? I need to breed my cows. I bred them once. I don't think I went back to breed them again. I think I legitimately forgot. You know what? Next time we go upstairs, if we do end up going upstairs, I'll do that. Because then we can also check how much wheat we have and everything like that. It doesn't sound like too bad of an idea. Especially since we're going to have to go upstairs anyways to repair our pick, because this is a decent chunk that we have to dig out. I think I'll go until my pick is red. Once it's red and it'll still be visible color durability, but once it's almost down to where we can't see the color, then we'll repair it. I know I have a few picks that we just have enchanted that I haven't done anything with. I want to double check to see what enchantments they have. Because right now this has, I think, efficiency 4? No, it's efficiency 5. I don't remember. How many times we've repaired this one? I don't think it's enough for me to worry of not being able to afford it. But there's a potential. And if that does arise, then we'll just end up using one of the other picks. Just by themselves without using it to repair this one. And that means I'll spend a lot more time at the Skelly farm to get more levels. Which also means I need to figure out a better storage system. Because last time I was at the Skelly farm, which was the last time I was on, so I'd say, not counting earlier before stream, because I was only there because I logged out there, and then I ran all the way back here. So I'd say probably right after last stream, I was at the Skelly farm. This storage situation is getting a little rough. So we're going to need to combine bows. I turned a lot of the bones into bone blocks. And then if a certain amount gets full, I might just end up getting a bucket of lava and making a garbage. Because at this point, there is so much everything. Sure, I probably wouldn't put arrows in there, but armor pieces that we don't need and stuff like that, since we're already getting a whole lot, after a while, I probably might just put them in a garbage bin. Another thing I could do is, once they're full again, leave them full, have a hopper trail underneath the last few hoppers on the bottom, and essentially make it an entirely different storage, so we can have a bigger backup storage just in case. But I can't think of a reason why that would be better than just saving myself in the long run. Except for the fact that having the extra armor pieces, it doesn't hurt. For instance, if this armor breaks, of course I'd be able to make more, but let's say on the off chance that for some reason I somehow lost all of my iron and diamonds and everything, I have a lot of gear I can just repair and wear it instead. I think the only armor that I won't do that to, that I won't throw away, is gold, and that's just because I would rather use my gold for other things than armor. But having gold armor is relatively valuable if you're going into the nether. Honestly, off the top of my head, I think the main things I would use gold for is legitimately powered rails, specifically for a super smelter, because that I feel like I have a pretty good recollection of how to make just off the top of my head. But if I wanted to do anything else with powered rails as well. And other than that, I mean, I already have 2 clocks, so that's not on the table right now. Especially since I can't think of a specific reason I'd need a clock. Except for decoration purposes. What are other things that require gold? Besides the armor and weapons and tools. I'm not recalling much. You know what? I'm going to keep that on me. I'm going to quickly check. Where is... I thought there was a crafting table out here. Apparently, last time I was building in that area, either I moved the crafting table somewhere and don't remember where I put it, or I didn't have a crafting table there at all. I'm going to want a crafting table somewhere nearby. Alright. You know what? We can take a quick gander. Why not? That's redstone and iron. That doesn't require gold. I think if it requires any metal, it's copper. Not... No, I mean the harness itself. Alright. I don't remember what spectral... Glowstone. Alright. I don't think I've ever made spectral arrows. I think the majority of it would be cosmetic if I had to assume. Just with what I would use. Doesn't mean it doesn't have any other purposes, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Well, glistening melons, golden carrots, and golden apples, of course, but I don't use those all too often. So powered rails. Those are actually relatively cheap. Alright. That's good to know. Yeah, that's really the only thing I can recall. Except for the fact there is one recipe that I know I don't have. I don't know what it requires. That might have gold in it. And that'd be the auto crafter. Fair enough. And hi, Sage. I think the last time I've used spectral arrows was a long time ago. And it's probably for PvP, if I had to assume, because I can't recall using them in an actual survival world. But I can see them being a lot of fun. And you can... It's one of the things you can get off of piglins in bartering. I didn't know that. I know there's a lot you can get from bartering with piglins, but I haven't done much bartering with piglins, and the main things that I know you can get off of them is... Let's see here. Obsidian, crying obsidian. Please don't walk in front of me while I'm mining, because I'm mining upward. You're gonna think I'm looking at you when I'm just mining. I know there's other things. I can see it in my head, but Can't pinpoint what it is. Probably soul sand and soul soil, if I had to assume. And maybe some other rarer drops. You know what? Just because of that, maybe something I can work towards is at some point have another adventure and just go out, try and find a bastion, collect a few piglins as best as I can, all things considered, and see what I get from them. Because either way, there is a few things I still want to do in the Nether that isn't just gathering materials, so to say, or isn't just adventuring necessarily. Because I would like to get frog lights, and that would be gathering materials, but I would have to. You know what? I'm gonna preemptively put a floor down here. I didn't need to do that. I only need to dip down that area, not this area. Oh well. But that means I need to get frogs and then bring them into the Nether. And then bring them to, well, a safe enclosed area that has magma slimes. I don't think I've actually used frog lights, at least not too often. I think I probably used them at least once in creative mode. I don't think I've actually used them in survival mode. But it wouldn't be a bad thing to have at least available to me so I can use them in the future. You know what? Especially with a different city. Because in this place, we're using lanterns and stuff like that. But let's say the mushroom area, because I do want to put a city or at least a town there. Because there's already going to be a farm there eventually once I have enough sand and everything and feel like I can actually tackle clearing out a sea temple and making a farm. But I can see both shroom lights and frog lights being used for lights in that area. Of course, I would still use lanterns because I like lanterns, but I can see those being used more often than in this place. Alright. Enderman, you are freaking me out. Why are you walking where I actively am? I understand you're walking around with your block that you just found, but I really don't want to accidentally hit you. Because that would not be great for me. Sure, I'm rocking full diamond gear, but I don't know how much I trust my chances going up against the Enderman right now. Who knows? Maybe I'll succeed, but I don't think I want to risk that at the moment. I say that, and then eventually, way later down the line, when I realize how much they've griefed my area, I'm just going to end up having a war against Enderman. Because I know they have. They keep placing a whole lot of blocks. Which I'm fine with. They can place blocks. But they also take blocks that are, I think it's ones that are technically naturally generated. So, like just normal andesite, stone, stuff like that. If they're not blocks made into something, or like cobblestone, stone brick, stuff like that, fairly certain they can pick up those blocks, because that's how bees got into my science center without me realizing, because I blocked it with, I think, oak logs at one point, and then an enderman took an oak log and bees got in my area, which wasn't great. And considering how often I use stone and stuff like that to build with, I can see myself having a minor feud with enderman. Especially since my entire, I guess, kind of first base of sorts. This is a massive first base. Either way, considering it is all underground and it is just a giant cave and the main block is going to be stone and andesite and gravel, all stuff that enderman can easily pick up, I can see that going wrong. You know what? Something I could do just to prevent certain unwanted scenarios, I could. Oh, righty then. Hey, can we not? I'm glad you're not mad at me, but please don't. That was. Alright. Are we good? Did you just want to place the grass block and run away? Alright. But anything that has water, lava, or something of that sort. Okay, no. I'm not gonna fall for that. No. Don't try and trick me to look at you. I know what you're trying to do. Rude. But we can put essentially a barrier if we can, where we have quote unquote man-made. I just now realized where my pick is at. Man-made blocks. So whether it's cobblestone or something like that as a barrier. And then we can have the true wall after that. But it all depends on where it is and whether or not that'd be visible. All right. Efficiency on breaking. Right, I was going to combine it with this one because they're both Fortune 2, so I can easily get Fortune 3. Again. Because we have Fortune 3 here. That I might want to use to its full capacity before I start using this one. So I'll combine it, use this one until it breaks. And then we can use the one that we just repaired. Because I think the one that we just repaired, this will be the first or second repair, while the other one is probably on its third or fourth. So let's do bop bop. 26. 22. It's the same enchantments. It just costs different amounts. Alright. I mean, we might get that much. Actually, if I take all of these, we're up to 22. There we go. That works. I'd like to take all of the copper that we smelted. Is there more? There's one more. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. All right. We have a whole bunch of copper that are just copper bars. If we want copper, I think they're both copper bars. No, this is copper ingots. If we want copper bars, we have a whole bunch of copper ingots. I don't think we need to worry about that, so I'm just going to turn this into copper. All right. And I should have emptied my inventory, but I didn't. But either way, I'm still going to at least harvest the wheat, because I said I would, and it's been a while since I have harvested any wheat. While we're at it, actually, in this little farming section, we probably could have an auto composter. Or should we leave that for the 3rd level? You could probably have one on both. It just means that we would have bone meal on multiple floors, which isn't the end of the world. It just means we'll have multiple places. Oh, we are completely fine on wheat. Never mind. I thought we were gonna run low. We're fine. We're also doing fine on potatoes. I think carrots are our only lacking point, and even then, I think we're fine. All right. Still gotta spend some time farming just so we can have more of a buffer and maybe breed up our villagers a bit more, but geez. Speaking of which, hey villagers. Take all of these potatoes. Fairly soon, that's upstairs. There we go. Why did I keep the copper on me? I don't know. You know what? I'll put the... Is copper in the pallet? Yes, copper is in the pallet. Okay, then I'll put copper over here. Because we haven't used the entirety of that pallet. We've used, I'd say, a good half of that pallet. And then for the rest of it, mainly the white bits and the variants in wood. Why is there a random sand? I don't think I put that sand there. I might have. And if I did, it was because of the thought of sugarcane. But I don't recall putting sand there. That might have also been an Enderman. Maybe one of the Endermen wanted to participate. It's like, you know what? You're doing this whole thing with creating pallets by placing blocks. I want to add to the pallet. And you know what? Maybe we will use sand. We'll see. Okay. I don't have silk touch on me, so I'll just pick that up. We have a whole bunch of grass blocks out there that if we really needed to pick up grass blocks, we could just pick them up and replace them with dirt. It's fine. Honestly, I don't hate that with how small it is. What we can do to kind of make it so it's kind of uniform, well, that's not what I meant to do, is do that. So it's not just one area, it's another level of this wall. And that's just going for shape, because it's not, that is not going to remain flat cobblestone. All right. That works. And then right over here, this could be the hangout part. And you know what? Maybe we can have slightly leveled planting areas. Hold on. We can pick up this dirt. It legitimately might not be enough dirt for what I'm thinking, but that's fine. So let's say, you know what, fine, I'll use cobblestone for this. From here to about here, we have like a table. There could be some chairs around it. I might make it a bit bigger, actually. So have it like that instead. Just so that way, if we want to have just one chair on a side, it doesn't have to be off to the side. And then we don't have to have two wide chairs for it to look like it fits. So we can have a table. You know what, let's do this. Whoa. Alright. Don't know what's going on there. Have something like that for one layer. Let's go ahead and put a torch up here since I need to remove that one. And I do have oak on me, so I can easily make a few slabs. Even though I'm fairly certain we don't need to make more slabs. I'm almost positive I have a fair chunk of slabs just in storage, but it's fine. I'll get over it. We could do that. Just so I don't mix up the two areas, I'm just going to separate those two chunks of dirt. So we have one elevated area. Need a few slabs. Let's do something like this. I don't think I want the slabs all the way around. I do want a slab way up, so we can actually get up without having to jump and everything and ruin the props. But I think I'll just make a specific pathway for it instead of this. I don't think we have enough dirt to fill this all in. At least not on us. I have a whole lot more dirt elsewhere, but not in here. I think this definitely isn't going to be the only dirt we're going to place. But this is just going to be the farmland. Where did I put... Why do I have a feeling I put a bucket where I shouldn't have? I'm remembering Terraria. My buckets where they are supposed to be here. But I was remembering the fact that I had a bucket of water in Terraria. Because yesterday we were playing Terraria. And that I placed in my piggy bank. Hey, I kind of need water. This is not, in fact, filled with water. I was even making a comment on it, saying, hey, this isn't filled with water. This isn't the same thing. And then I go on to go into the place where I need water with a very dry bucket. Alright. That's fine. It could be worse. Where do I want to put the source block? Honestly, for now, I'll put it here. And I might see if I can make that into a water fixture later. Because I could see some water flowing it out of that wall and down into the crops to keep them all nice and hydrated. Similar to what's happening right here. There's some flowers over here. I think I'm legitimately just getting lucky that the bees are content with all the flowers that are going on over there. And I think I legitimately have all of the too tall flowers. So if I don't have the too tall flowers in my flower chest, then I just need to go around and use bone meal on the ones that we do have. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll put it here. We can put a thing of moss above it. Oh, you know what? I can finish filling this in so I don't have a random dirt block in my inventory that isn't in a stack. All right. I need mossy carpet. That's 6 moss. That's 42 moss. Okay, those can go in the same chest. I really need to do a better job of not placing items in a separate chest despite them already being in another chest. Because sure, these chests aren't the most organized because they're only like that because of the fact that they're temporary. However, it still would be nice to know all of the blocks that I have on hand instead of being like, oh, hey, I need more of this block. And then you grab more of said block. And then you realize that you didn't actually need more of that block. The more of that block was in the other chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bah. And then that will keep that one hydrated, but won't do anything to these. What we can also do is hide some in the wall. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. We can put it. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. We can put it right there. And for now, I'll just put cobblestone. There we go. That hydrates up to here. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I just need a random bucket of water right about 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And that covers everything except for this short little bit. And I could just do that. So now we can till it all, and it'll be fine and all hydrated. I really should have kept the moss on me. But I didn't, because I put it away. Somewhat away. Because I need the moss. I'm not going to grab those yet. I'll just grab the actual blocks of amethyst for this. And how much actual clay do we have, actually? Ah, yes. How many times am I going to say actually there? Okay, I don't think we have a whole bunch of clay on hand. I think I need to go into my storage. So I'm fairly certain I used it for terracotta. So we'll use a bit of that. We'll grab a bit of sand. For now, that should be good. Maybe. I can put away a chunk of that. Some of this is technically going to be covered up, yes. Which is why I'm going to leave that hole there. But not all of it. I think right over here. I don't need to waste a thing of amethyst there. You know what? If they did make it so that Amethyst wasn't for the rules necessarily, I feel like these farmers and bee people and whomever else joins this club would probably get in trouble real quick. Because there's a fair bit of amethyst all about. And then over here is going to be flowers. I think again, I want to have it be slightly raised. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't want all of it to be raised. Just some of it. Let's do that. The way I'm doing this makes it feel like I'm not going to have grass for the floor. Which I might not. I might, of course, have the... I think I'm going to continue the trail, because we do have a trail design that we've only done in that section so far, because we just recently got this all done. But we might continue this path into the area, so the ground would be dirt and grass. However, I think there's also going to be a lot more, maybe wood. Maybe there'll be, of course, the pathway, but wherever it's around either a farming area or a flower area, which is still a farming area, there's basically like a wooden border around those. Maybe. I can see it working. With how big this area is, there needs to be some sort of support. Of course, we're going to have the cave be structured in a certain way where this feels right and just part of the natural cave, and they wouldn't have to carve too much into it. Like, of course, this is not going to be textured too much on the inside because this is going to be all functionality. But it was there to begin with in the first place, and they just kind of whittled it down, similar to what we did with our storage. I mean, what I could do, I mean, I would have to see how it looks after we have all the sides and walls done. So I need to get the walls and the ceiling done before I do the majority of the interior. Because then we can figure out if we actually do need to have a support somewhere in the center. Because we could have some sort of support in the center. And if we did, it could be either man-made or natural to a degree. I'm actually kind of leaning more towards the man-made side, though, because what they could have done and what I might implement into some of the look of the walls in certain areas, but maybe like this was a part of a cave and this was a part of a cave. Well, yes, they're both naturally caves. There was a separation. If they got rid of that separation, it would lose some of the stability, so they would have to fix that. And sure, it wouldn't be smart to just go in and start knocking walls down of caves for that same exact reason of you don't want the entire place to collapse on you. But we're still on the second floor. The first floor doesn't have too much dug out, in all fairness. So the second floor is where they'd still be kind of learning, and or they did it themselves and didn't ask people who know a lot about structural stability, one or the other. But either way, it could be something along those lines. And they're like, okay, I'll just create. Ooh, you know what? I can make a tiny little thing as a testing look at it. A testing look at it. Makes the best sense. Where is it? So we got barrels. We have spruce trapdoors. Dark oak stairs. Maybe. Please say we have spruce on hand. Do we not have spruce on hand? We have some spruce on hand. Not too much, but we have some. So I definitely need to go fix that soon. Dark oak, dark oak. I think I want at least 2 more of those, so that would give us at least 2 more. It'll give us 4 more. And then I can kind of show the basic idea of what I have in my head. It won't be the most polished thing because I don't have all of the materials. In fact, I think I mostly just need 2 more dark oak stairs, and then it might be able to do it fully, but it's fine. We're not technically to this point yet. I just want to put down the idea before it gets out of my head. So let's see here. I'd say about right here is far enough away from the moss farm that I won't be intruding on anything. And same goes with the table over there. Plus, it's far enough away from any of the walls that it could most likely be read as structural support. So I'll go ahead and put this down. I honestly just want to see how this looks because I can see it in my head. Doesn't mean it's going to look good, but I want to see how it looks. Also, I think we're going to need more dark oak if we are going to do this because we would need at least dark oak trapdoors on these two just to make it a little bit bigger at the base. And then, of course, we need the Nope. We'd have to replace this with an end piece, but replace that with an end piece and have it like that. So it's going out on either way. So it looks like it's actually supporting the ceiling. I might turn this so it's this way instead. And then we're gonna have trapdoors just on top of the stairs. Two barrels. Okay, not all the way up. And definitely not that far down. Maybe all the way at the top and no. So just all the way at the top. I mean, hold on. Instead of having the trapdoor on top, I think I'll take those, flip those stairs back around, so we can actually be able to put lanterns on them. And I'm going to go ahead and do this so we can at least see what it would look like on one side. You know what? I don't have enough stairs on me, that is. So just so we can see what it would look like. So on each corner, we'd have something like this to help keep it up. And this is in line with right over there. I mean, let me go ahead and put a torch over there because we'd end up putting a lantern over there. I honestly don't hate that, actually. You know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Oh. This real quick. I think. Hold on. You know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more stairs. 3 more slabs. And a fair chunk more trapdoors. Because that'd be 6. And then at least 8 more on top of that. Do I have enough to play around with it? Maybe. So I definitely need to chop down dark oak. in the very near future. That's 10. We only need 8. The rest we can put in here. I could have just grabbed the stairs and the slabs from here. Dang it. Oh. Oh well. I'll get over it. You know what? I do know, however, that somewhere I do have another one of these. There we go. Alright. So let's do... Dang it. Bop. Bop. And bop. Bop. And then put these on all the ends. Please tell me I have one more spruce lying around that isn't part of my small little lineup. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. No! Alright. Fine. So I need to chop down spruce as well. Oh well. We could do this. Put the stairs. You know what? For now, I'll just do that because I want to test, see how extending it looks. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but the fact that this is gonna be one of the only ones doesn't bode well. I could make it so it's not the only one, actually. An easy way to do that would be to put at least part of one right here. Move the moss farm, what, 2, maybe 3 blocks over that way? So we can push that wall back a little bit more. Okay, so we're just missing a little bit. Hold on. I'm gonna grab these ones and move them to this side. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Honestly, I don't hate that. In fact, another thing we can do instead is maybe we can alternate it, but have these ones specifically just kind of hang while the other two are down. And then with these ones, maybe we can put something on top of the shelf instead of just hanging from it. Okay, I think it's too long. It is a smooth arch, but it's too long of an arch for the type of place we're in. So instead, we can put them here. So we're legitimately just missing 2 dark oak trapdoors. Hold on. I have, I think, 2 more dark oak stairs in the chest. I'm gonna grab those. I do. Okay, good. I'm gonna grab those real quick. And see if I can't do something up here. Because the fact that these are not, they don't look connected. It feels off. Can I please grab that? Did I grab it? Well, there's not an item up there, so I'm assuming I did. But that could be like a little arch in between. I don't hate that. But I think instead of having 2 barrels, I'll just take one of the barrels off and turn it into another oak. So let's do that instead. That works. That in fact works. Another thing we could potentially do that isn't just destroying the ground. Let me just fix that real quick. I don't have all the slabs necessary for this. But we could do something to that effect. I could do it on 3 sides. And then, oh, well, that's not what I wanted to do. Why was that one gone? Okay, that's too much. That's too much. I was only missing 2. I was gonna say, wait a minute. I thought I was only missing 2. But I accidentally just kind of moved them. I mean, having it only be a slab doesn't look terrible. Because when it's a stair and it takes up that much room, it looks odd. But then again, the problem with that is the fact that if it's not a stair, then it's hard to place things on unless we do that. Honestly, I don't hate it. It's definitely odd, but I don't hate it. So instead of having stairs, we can have slabs. I have more dark oak slabs. I think I'm just gonna grab the entire stack of dark oak slabs, just in case. Why am I being invaded by so many Endermen? I mean, I'm not complaining. You do you, but I am a little confused. There we go. That is a stair. Is there any other stairs? No. Then we can put the lanterns down. I swear the trapdoors just keep migrating around. I mean, I personally really like that. I think my main thing is I think I want to expand it up one, just in the center here, because I think it would look better. I just don't have the spruce for that, which is fine. We can easily get it, but hold on. If I were to bring it up by one, I'm going to need scaffolding if I want to do that. All right. Good to know, good to know. I guess this is going to be partially a materials chest now. And I'm definitely going to have to keep this place closed if I'm going to be digging up by one, because I know there's water above here. Don't know what's above there. There's a potential it could also be water, so just as a precaution, I'm going to keep that closed. I'm fairly certain it's been a bit since I've harvested the majority of the trees out there, except for cherry. So I think everything's grown. I'm so glad it was daytime. Because we need dark oak and spruce. I still kind of need to babysit dark oak, so I could chop dark oak now. Then I could start chopping the spruce, and by the time that I'm done with the spruce, the dark oak saplings should have dropped. At least we can hope. I didn't want to break that. There we go. And we might as well chop down this one. And then hopefully we just get 4 saplings just off of this tree, if not more. If we get 4 saplings, hooray! We don't have to go downstairs and come back with more saplings. If it doesn't, then, well, we need to go downstairs anyway. There we go. You know what? Next time I breed my cows, I think I'm just gonna slaughter them. Because there's a lot of cows in that one area. Okay, good, 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 good. Are you gonna drop any more? I mean, they might. You know what? Since I'm waiting for saplings to drop, I can bring up wheat, breed the cows, and then slaughter them. Because this is the last of my steak, I believe. So we are running a little bit low, because usually I have a reserve. But I do not currently have a reserve. I'm really hoping that there isn't going to be a random creeper that pops up. Because that would really suck. Speaking of which, I'm going to switch to my shield. Did everyone get wheat that wanted wheat? That are cows. One more? No? Alright. You know what? We may not have made books anytime recently, but we'll get more leather from this. Sure, we don't technically need it, but we might in the future. You never know. You know what? Maybe I'll make an entire library on one of the floors. A big library. I'm definitely going to end up making a small one somewhere, at the very least. I think I want there to be a few... I want there to be at least a few things in each town and or city. One of which is a library. The other things... Nether portal. Just for easy access. A farm. So they have some sort of food source. But other than that, I can't think of anything in specifics. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's put you in there. Let's put you in there. I'll just have 6 raw beef in my inventory because I don't want to waste coal. I need to go back upstairs. I'm glad I didn't go back upstairs yet. Oh. Alright, fine. I waited too long for that one. My bad. And then bop, 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 bop. Alright. I just need to put away the singular spruce sapling and one of the spruce logs so I can have that line filled up. So bop and bop. Dark oak's doing just fine. And it is one of the ones I do need to babysit more. Oops. Kind of failed at this time, but it's fine. We have a lot of leather. I mean, it means we won't have to get too much leather for if we need it. What are we going to need it for? Currently, I don't know. But hey, we have it. Right. The majority of what we need is legitimately just the spruce logs. Gonna grab those real quick. There we go. Was that everything? Yes. All right. I forgot to grab scaffolding. That would be a little bit helpful to have. Scaffolding is in here, right? Yes. That was a cat. I don't know what my brain thought it was, but I just saw something moving across my screen in the distance. And for a second, I was concerned. How far do I want the ceiling to be at this height? Definitely not everywhere, but Ah, all right. Let's do up and up. Was it a stair? It was a stair. Ah, yes. I mean, it works. If it works, it works. Let's go ahead and pick up the debris. Doesn't need to be that tall. It doesn't need to be at this height either, but having it this height doesn't hurt. There we go. Let's do something like that. I'm gonna need this one. And we'll put it over here. There we go. Something along those lines. I think we could definitely lift the ceiling up a little bit more in this section. But I think on this end, you know what, I'll do 1 to 2 more blocks on this end, but other than that, I think it's fine. I mean, not too bad. I'll grab these since I think that's relatively okay on that side. I'm just gonna do that. Ah, all right. Guess I'm gonna fall off my scaffolding. There we go. Can I reach? I mean, I can. All right, that works. As long as I can reach. Even if I have to jump. Bop. 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 And bop. Bop. Then we're going to need the end pieces. There we go. Good, I can reach the ceiling. Let's go ahead and put the spruce trapdoors right underneath the stairs over here. I think I want to put some more distance between that and the lower ceiling. But other than that, honestly, yeah, it needed the ceiling to be raised. So it's on this side. Let's go ahead and push it out. Eek. All right. Guess I'm down here. You know what? No. I don't want to make it just normally round. Having it kind of poke in like that actually does make it feel a bit better. Yeah. I honestly really like that. All right. I know I was pushing or was planning to push the decorating to after doing the walls and the ceiling, but hey, I have a pillar now. And it's a pretty cool pillar. And because we have one pillar, I think it wouldn't hurt to have maybe not the same, but something similar on the far wall back here, which is actually the perfect size, actually. Wait, I just got dark oak. I can fix the fact that we're missing 2 trapdoors. There we go. But we could put something similar on that end. On this side, I don't think we need it because of the fact we're going to have it on the far end over here. And we could potentially even get away with maybe something over there. We need to fix the wall a bit, but I think we could. It wouldn't be recommended though, since this is wood and that's going to have water. So it might legitimately just be over there. Because if we did it over there, it would poke out of the wall, which I don't think would be the best idea. Sure, it'd work, but I don't think it would look the best. Okay, for now, I'm going to grab this. Put a fair chunk of this away. Because I may have done a little bit of decorating, but I need to save that for after at least the basics. Do I? I don't think I have more dirt. I mean, I might. There might be some dirt that I put in the collection chest inside, but just in case, it doesn't hurt to grab more dirt. There we go. But weren't you just up there? All right. You know what? I'm not going to question it. The cat's going to do cat things, whether I understand it or not. And not all of this is going to be dirt. I'm just going to put dirt here for now. That's not the block I wanted to place. You know what? No. I can put cobble there. And then over here, I'll have it go out a little. And then back to where it usually sits. Good, I kept amethyst on me. We could put a little bit of amethyst there. With the way that's placed, you'd think that'd be in the corner. Why do I keep doing it in threes? Let's do that instead. Dang it. There we go. It's somewhat in the corner. Because then we can have glowberries hanging from the ceiling. But I also don't want to overuse the amethyst block. I think I want the majority of the blocked amethyst on the ground. Hi, kitty. We can do that. I'm going to replace this with moss. Same with those. And I think what I'm going to do over here is make a small little water fixture of sorts. And then up here, I don't have stonecutter on me. You know what? Instead of having to go out there for the stonecutter, I'm going to go just doink the stonecutter. There we go. And we'll do... Actually, let's do this instead. We'll make it a stair. And we can have some water going down. Of course, we're going to texture a wall and everything, and it's going to hopefully come together a bit better. But for now, we can do that. And in some of the places where the amethyst is touching the wall, we can easily just have it to where either moss is growing on the side or glow lichen or even vines, but I think I'll stick to glow lichen and moss since vines like to get a little out of control. There we go. Well, I guess there's gonna be a hole there now. I don't have bone meal on me. There we go. Just gonna sure we're gonna have a dirt path throughout all of this and everything. But we need to get more mossy carpet. And we need to dig up the ground anyway, so we can have dirt on the ground. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, kitty. Thank you. Where are the torches? There's the torches. I placed the torch and immediately broke it. All right. Very helpful. Ooh, you know what? You know what? Let me go ahead and pick that up real quick. And I'll dig into here a little bit. There we go. Legitimately not trying to make it look uniform. Just trying to make it a somewhat open area. Let's go ahead and I'll replace you with amethyst. We could put a little bit of moss. Over there we can have you know what? I already have andesite on me. Let's make some andesite slabs, some andesite stairs, some cobble stairs, some cobble slabs. And then the same with these. Do I have? I do not. I need gravel. Gravel? Gravel. Might as well grab the sand. And some of the ground over here can actually be clay since it would really fit. So let's do bop. There we go. I should grab some stone. I don't... I was gonna say, I don't think I have any stone out here right now. Let's fix that real quick. Do I have stone here? Yes, I do, actually. Alright. I'll take it. As much as I'm tempted to put it in that chest, I know I'm going to end up using it later. Meaning that if I'm going to put it away anywhere, I should put it away in here. At least temporarily. Let's do stone, cobble. For now, I really should put a torch somewhere because it's dark. Even though this is not going to be lit up to this extent afterwards. I think the majority of its lighting is going to remain glow lichen. Let's do... Bop. Nope. Bop. And then over here, we can have stone. From all the way over here. We're gonna need the stairs. Let's grab stair, stair, and stair. You know what? Let's do cobble, mossy, andesite. We can have a cobblestone stair as well there, but let's do a slab. And then anything that is diorite, let's change out for something else. We can also technically put in a bit of sand, just very sparingly. Let's do gravel, gravel, andesite, andesite. Good. You know what? No. Let's do that instead. Let's grab some water. And then there we go. Nice little water fixture. Over here, I need at least one more stair. At least for this specific part. You know what? No, let's do a stone stair. So let's do stone stair. Mossy. That shows that there could be a trail of water going all the way through there. Which then we can have water coming up over here. You know what? The worst that happens is that the water spills everywhere. Okay, good. It didn't. I think I want that to be a slab. Because having it just be an empty spot doesn't look quite right. And I think I could probably get away with moving this table over by a little bit. So instead have it about here so it's not right next to the water. For now, I'll put a torch there, but we can put glow lichen inside of there as well as some of the crystal shards and glowberries to help light it up a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put these away for now. And I'm gonna quickly drop this down by 1. Because I want to do that before I forget. Because I almost did forget. That should be fine. Something I will actually need to do, because this is where the farm itself is going to be, we're going to need some sort of walkway that isn't exactly where the machine's going to be built. It can't be that direction, so we're going to have to do it somewhere over there. So we need to edit that wall a bit. But that shouldn't be too difficult. I'm just going to push it back this way by 2. All right. Just in case. There we go. Let's see if I can push this back by 1. Because I think I'd rather have it be against this wall, but not up against this. I don't technically have a specific reason for it. I just feel like it would be better that way. There we go. And then from here, this could be elevated a little bit. I don't think it matters that much. I just want the farm itself to be sunken down. And I'll leave this outer part for now, because we're going to need to... I have a lot of stone. It'll be fine. Because we're going to need a lot of stone, cobble, andesite, and all of that to make the cave supports, cave pillars of sorts that are going to be on either end. That this is going to be kind of cutting into, maybe. It might also just be missing it. No, it'll be somewhat cutting into it. I could probably make it to where we have the cave-like pillar structure up here. It goes up like it usually would, and then it could probably curve like that. Make a semicircle. Well, that's not how tall I wanted it to be. Because I can see that looking good. If we do it right. Will we do it right? Well, eventually, but we'll have to see. And I'm definitely going to make this kind of curve as well. Because sure, this part doesn't need to be necessarily big, but it would be better to have a decent walkway for when we're doing any maintenance or anything. I can make that work. I could definitely make that work. Because if we have it do something like this, we can have a stair over here, we can have a wall right here, and then slab, stair, and we can make an interesting wall structure to the cave. And in all of the places in this specific cave, it's actually going to be the most cave-like in comparison. Because here, this is a random area that's kind of curved in, and it's not all uniform. everywhere else, excluding this part, is relatively uniform, which we will fix afterwards. So over here was probably part of the original cave, and this is where they started chipping away at it to make it a specific size. So we're probably going to end up having a lot more wooden supports in this area in comparison to the rest of it. They're not going to be as big as that one, but they're still going to be wooden supports. Because this one's having to hold up a whole lot more than this one will have to. Kind of. Because sure, they're part of the same roof, but this is holding up. This is compensating for this entire area. This is just compensating for this little rectangle. And honestly, I don't think that's terrible. I'm gonna quickly grab, that was 3, right? That was 4. I'm gonna grab 4 slabs real quick so I don't forget that that's what I want to do with that area. Slab. Bop, bop. Bop, and bop. There we go. Alright. You know what? Not too bad. So, we have the majority of this place dug out. The only part that isn't dug out is the section where the bees are going to be, our backup bees. So we need to dig that out. But we have the area where our moss farm is going to be dug out. We have this very big area that is now apparently part of a farming club of sorts that is all dug out. And has a bit of decorating splattered in, including this pillar that I'm actually really proud of. And honestly, I think that's pretty good for today. So I think that's going to be it from me today. So thank you all so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining. If you liked the live stream, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more content from me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get notified for any future live streams videos, go ahead and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you beautiful people next time. Bye!